So I'm going to leave it to Tony. So this is Tony Sanchez.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Good evening. And I'm so glad that I said evening because usually I'll say good morning because I'm always saying good morning. So I did catch myself, make sure I said good evening. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this will work. And I'm also going to take off the video of myself so you don't have to see me all night. But then after we have any questions, I'll of course open up the, let me see, admit, okay, making sure everybody's coming in. I'll make sure that I show the video of myself as well, and then we'll answer any questions you may have. So let's get started. Let's take a deep breath. I of course tell that to myself. Let's see. Share screen here. Okay. Can you all see that?
No, we can't see that.
Okay.
No, no, I can't.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go here.
Okay, so I think it's going to get ready to start.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Let me see where our lovely faces went. Okay, so you do see the Hart High School?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry. It doesn't allow me to see your faces. Let's see. Hold on one sec here. There we go. Okay, it just, my computer's so slow. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's do that. So, okay, there we go. Well, let's just go from here. I know that you're there. I'll open that up. Okay, so welcome Hart High School. Thank you for joining us today. Tony from College of the Canyons Financial Aid Department. I'm not going to show this in, let's see if I do it in projection. For some reason, I'm going to have these bars on the side. I'm so sorry. Because once I share it, it goes to the other side and I don't want to confuse anybody. So first things first, I'd like to start with a nice quote from Nelson Mandela. It says, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." So much needed these days. And that's just a great quote that I like. I have it on all my emails. So I really enjoy reading nice quotes on education. That's okay, that thing. Okay. So understanding student financial aid. And then any questions you may have, again, we'll discuss them after, hopefully at 7 o'clock, we'll kind of get through this. And, you know, again, this is being recorded, so you can always log back in and see, hey, I missed something. So, you know, and you could catch it then. Okay, so what we'll cover tonight is a financial aid equation. We'll go over, you know, how they determine financial aid, or if you do qualify for financial aid, through the equation, through the FAFSA. It's all done through the FAFSA and what you put on the FAFSA. Types of financial aid, what you can be awarded. We'll go through that briefly, kind of getting to the meat of this whole presentation, more of the FAFSA and how it looks and getting through it and questions you may have after that, okay? And then how to apply for financial aid, completing the FAFSA. So college price tag, tuition fees, books and supplies, food and housing, transportation, personal expenses, and this is all called the cost of attendance. And we'll talk about a little bit later of cost of attendance versus financial need, what's after what the FAFSA does give us as far as what you may qualify for financial aid. The whole reason for financial aid will give us what is called an EFC. An EFC is what your expected family contribution is in the amount of money the government expects you and your family to contribute towards your education or towards your cost of attendance. So the lower this EFC number is, the better chance of you, sorry, let me just let this person in, the better chance of you qualifying for some of the free money that's available to you. And it gives us this EFC. So you'll kind of hear that throughout our presentation tonight. Going back to calculations of the FAFSA. So what is a financial need? So it's a cost of attendance minus the EFC, which we just discussed earlier in the other slide, will equal financial need. So the financial need determines how much financial aid you are eligible for to receive in the form of grants and loans. Cost of attendance, let's make this a little smaller so you can see that. Cost of attendance comparison. So just a little, visual of the different cost of attendance. Speaking of community college, CSUs, and then UC schools. So this is just the difference of cost of attendance, how much it may be. Just be mindful that, of course, college, California state colleges or UCs are a lot more expensive, as you can see. And then also we have private schools, which can range up to $60,000 in yearly fees or tuition for different private schools that are available or that are around California or out of state as well. Major types of financial aid funding. So we'll talk about the different grants and scholarships that are generated from the FAFSA. So grants and scholarships, money you don't have to pay back, typically based on financial need. Again, talking about, after you finish the FAFSA, it gives us this financial need, usually around $18,000 a year or so. Work study, there's also work study available for our students, incoming high school students, which is a great opportunity for them to, learn a skill, work in financial aid, best place to work to learn the different skills in financial aid or throughout a campus. Doesn't have to be here at College of the Canyons, whatever school they determine to go to. Work study is available. So it's earning money through community service also, while working to help pay for your education. So you get money, that's your money to use as you please. And that's work study. And then of course, student loans, borrowed money that must be repaid with interest. So we kind of stay away from student loans right now at the community college level due to all the money that is available to students in the form of grants and scholarships. So we concentrate more on the green and the yellow here. Most importantly, the federal Pell Grant is what usually is the most recognized through the FAFSA. Federal Pell Grant, the largest source of free money from the federal government for students with financial need. Undergraduate only, no bachelor's or professional degree earned. And I'll explain that to you real quick. So once you obtain or receive your bachelor's degree, unfortunately, the Pell Grant is no longer available to you. So that's why I tell my students to make sure that you utilize everything at the community college level. And if you decide to go to a four-year college, use it all during that time, your Pell Grant money, if you qualify for it, because once you receive your bachelor's degree, the Pell Grant is no longer available. It is up to $6,495 a year, dependent on your enrollment status. So what this is saying is, let's just say, again, going back to the EFC, what is generated from the FAFSA, the lower the number, again, the more higher amount of Pell Grant you can get. So let's just say that you're taking a full load of classes or full units, which a full-time student is 12 units or more, and your EFC is 0. This chance of you getting the $6,495 a year will be what you would get for that enrollment for fall and through spring. Available for 6 years only. This is also something with the Pell Grant as well. So let's just say you do not complete your degree and you know take a break, or students take a break and they come back and they're not really going towards a particular degree, and they utilize this whole 6 years. Unfortunately, you do not qualify for the Pell Grant. I've seen that happen. So you would have to use the Pell Grant within 6 years of going to school or unit wise, and also before your bachelor's degree. And then apply by completing the FAFSA. Something also I like to touch on is the California Chafee Grant for students who are or were in foster care between the ages of 16 to 18. Student must be enrolled in at least half-time with a minimum of 2.0 GPA. You can receive up to $5,000, which is awesome for our Chafee students, a year, and job training or college. It requires a submission of a separate application. You could visit our office here at College of the Canyons, and we can help you with the Chafee Grant application. And then also you can go to the actual website which is chafee.csac.ca.gov, kind of long. That is the application for our foster care students or that were in the system from the age of 16 through 18. Let's just submit this, sorry here. There we go, awesome. Okay, so I was kind of worried because I did not see everybody on here, so I apologize. I was kind of worried to go, okay, I think our students are still here, or our parents are still here. Okay, so Cal Grants, also kind of like the Pell Grant, a little different though, a little different criteria for the Cal Grant. Guaranteed grant funded for recent California high school graduates who meet all eligibility requirements and apply by March 2nd. So the March 2nd deadline is for our 22-23. It's coming up soon. 23.
Tony,
so, yes.
Tony, I think you're off of full. Your screen isn't showing it any longer.
Oh no. Okay.
So if you want to,
sorry about that. Okay.
No worries.
Let's try this. Hold on one second, folks. Let's see. So I am going to try this and pray that this works. Okay. Okay, hold on one second here. I'm going to trade this.
The joys of virtual meeting.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to try to share this here. Okay, can you see that?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, let me try this.
I think it's getting ready to see your computer. There we go.
How about that? Okay. Oh, yeah, technology, right?
Yeah.
So sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, sometimes, our computers run really slow. Sorry about that. Okay, so is it a full screen or is it the black screen?
Black screen.
Oh,
but you can still see the Cal Grant and everything like that.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I know.
But that works. It works. It works.
Hold on one sec. Okay. Let me do this. Okay. There we go. Okay. I think we're cooking now. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. Full screen, right?
Yep. We're good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Okay. So the Cal Grant again is for our students coming in for 22-23. There's a March 2nd deadline attached to this. So we want to make sure that all our students in high school complete their FAFSA before this March 2nd deadline. Again, this is for the 22-23. The way the FAFSA works is fiscal year. So end of June, beginning of July, fall, just think of fall, would be the 22-23 year. I know this says 2021. Sorry about that. But for the Cal Grant, it'll be the 22-23, again, March 2nd, 2022 FAFSA. So FAFSA. As you can see, it's been a while since I used the Cal Grant little PowerPoint screen here. So again, deadline will be March 2nd, and that should read 2022. Something from once the FAFSA is done and GPAs have been verified from high school, I believe they do them in high school now, you'll receive a California aid report. And the California aid report, all it does is give, any kind of corrections that are needed, review your student aid, review the actual California aid report, and then you have access to what you may qualify for in the form of Cal grants, okay? And that website is webgrantsforstudents.org. Again, this will be available in the recorded presentation. But I just want to kind of give you a visual of what it looks like in the form of what this report looks like once you get that. Oh, this is working much smoother now. So excited. Again, also available to our students is loans. Again, I always present the loans because they are available to our students. Sometimes there's students who may not qualify for free money. There's also loans that are available to students. When I worked at Antelope Valley College, I was a specialist for loans. So I would do presentations kind of to make sure students use free money first, and this should be always the last resort. So again, it's low interest loans for students and parents to help pay for the cost of higher education. Again, like maybe going to a four-year college or a UC or CSU school. Loans must be repaid with interest. Subsidized, and the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized. So subsidized is based on financial need. You must be attending school at least half-time. Again, half-time is 6 units or more. Federal government pays with interest. So while you're in school, grace or deferment, the federal government is paying that interest. I don't recall what the interest is. It's maybe 4.3 if I remember correctly, but it's not too high, but still it's high enough, you know what I mean? And these have to be paid back. Unsubsidized is where interest is accruing and everything is just, going with once you first receive that loan. For myself personally, receiving my master's degree, loans were a blessing in some way, but also, they have to be paid back. On the right side, it says here, student loan benefits, in-school deferment, loan consolidation, flexible repayment options, and then fixed interest rates. So what this is basically stating is that, the lender is willing to work with students if, something should happen. There's flexible repayment options for students. Also, there's fixed interest rates, meaning that they will not change. They will remain the same at whatever you were, in. You will continue to get that same interest rate. So I like to just mention direct loans, again, should be the last resort for our students and parents. Federal work study available again. I mentioned that I would talk about the federal work study program where students can learn different skills on campus. I also work within the general vicinity. I know at ABC College, we had students who worked at different places. Antelope Valley Hospital, they worked there. They also were able to work at one of the air manufacturing companies out there. I forget the name, maybe it's Northrop, I believe. So we had some students working there. So different job trainings, we like to capture them and make sure that they actually work with College of the Canyons, just so we can meet them and they learn the skill. And it's really, a great way for them to, let me admit the student, sorry, to learn different skills, and also looks really great on a resume, once students are ready to go into the workforce. Scholarships and free money. Scholarships are also a great opportunity for students to get money or for their education. The first little box here, source, so available from colleges, companies, community-based groups, and other organizations. Also, you want to make sure that the scholarships are legitimate. Beware of scholarship search companies that charge a fee. That's a big indication that something is wrong. Like they're charging $75 for just to submit an application for the scholarship. Be very wary about that. Prepare may require transcripts, essay, interview, an audition, or completion of a FAFSA. So this is just some of the requirements for the different scholarships that for our students. Sometimes they may need to do a small little essay. I know for our internal scholarships here at College of the Canyons, we require a little paragraph, here and there, maybe answering some questions, and it's really very simple to obtain some of these scholarships. Great for, using them for books or laptops or whatever they may need them for their education and for expenses towards their educational goal. Apply usually requires a separate application with different deadlines. So there's a lot of deadlines attached to some of these scholarships. Again, here, speaking for always College of the Canyons, you could come visit our office and we can tell you if there's different deadlines, or you could visit our website, College of the Canyons, under financial aid under scholarships, and you could see if there's different deadlines. There's like so many different scholarships which have deadlines. So again, come into our office and we can help you, walk you through the application process. Down here it says make use of free scholarship searches. Great website to go to is fastweb.com or scholarships.com. Great search engine for so many different options for scholarships: nursing, fire tech, all different programs of education, computer science. So again, these are great websites that I added here. Scholarships.com is phenomenal as far as having a list of different scholarships that are available in California and other places throughout the United States. Our local scholarships: the Santa Clarita Valley Scholarship Foundation administers scholarships donated by local businesses and community organizations, individuals, educators, and alumni. So this is a great online website that you would go to for our local scholarships. If you want to, write it down, or again, you can visit this presentation later on. Must be a Santa Clarita Valley resident, must have a minimum of 2.0 GPA, must have attended one of our local high schools. Heart, yay. We have heart, so perfect for local high schools, and be a graduate during the application year. And then required type of essay, sometimes 135 words or less, addressing the writing prompt that appears on the application. So sometimes there's different, topics to talk about or to write about, and they require, 350 words, sometimes less, for some of these local scholarships. So it's very doable for our students to obtain different funding. And then again, there's different fundings for different scholarships within these local scholarships. Doing good on time. This is just something that I grabbed from the Census Bureau with regard to California community colleges and what we offer at the community college level. And it's really great, to see this. And I really wish, when I was in school, I knew about all this great points for attending a community college. And I was just like, oh, wow, so much stuff. Here, largest school system in higher education in the nation, composed of 72 districts and 115 colleges serving 2.1 million students per year. California Community College educates 70% of our staff nurses, our state nurses. California Community College trains 80% of our firefighters, law enforcement personnel, and EMT, which is really big, of course, in California, being stricken by a lot of fires that we do have in California. It's awesome to see this, that we do train our firefighters and law enforcement personnel and EMTs. 29% of our UC and 51% of our CSU graduates started at a community college. 48% of our UC bachelor's degree, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at the UC are from community college transfer from community college. California Community College offers associate's degrees, short-term job training certificates, and more than 175 fields, and more than 100,000 individuals have trained each year in the industry-specific workforce skills. And then lastly here, nearly 42% of all California veterans receive GI educational benefits, attend a community college for workforce training to earn associate's degree and train towards transferring to a 4-year university. I know that's a lot, but it's a lot of good information at the community college level. And I just wanted to share that because I'm very proud and happy about that. So talking about College of the Canyon specifically, and then we're going to go into the FAFSA and how it looks visually and what questions we may have. So I'm almost there. So just bear with me a little more. Canyon's Promise is one of our, I was speaking to Sam, Professor Sam here, about, to mention about the Canyon's Promise. If you could see here, there's a Scan Me. If you ever, or if you have your smartphone close by, you can actually click on the Scan Me. I love these and I introduced them to College of the Canyons. I came from ADC and we use these all the time. And it's really nice that I see that a lot of our presentations that I've gone to on campus are using these QR codes. They're a nifty thing that will take you directly to this page. So you want to scan here, you can look visually later on. Again, this will be attached to our presentation later on when it's shared with you. First time for full-time students attend tuition-free benefits include enrollment and student fees waived for our Canyon's Promise students, priority registration, which is awesome. You know, classes do fill pretty quickly. So priority registration has been a godsend to a lot of our students that love that they're able to get into these classes, you know, ahead of time, being Canyon's Promise in the Canyon Promise program. Academic support, if you do have any questions or any counseling questions, academic support and counseling is available. That's the more part here. Any questions as far as how long is it going to take to complete the student's education, you know, from start to finish? Our counselors are great and they're on campus as well, and they're available specifically for our Canyon Promise students. Again, you could visit this page for additional information, or you could scan here and it'll take you directly to our page at our website. Another big program that, again, is offered now, we're kind of getting into the FAFSA and what it generates as far as the money goes, or what students may qualify for. What is a California College Promise Grant? This was formerly known as the BOG. This is a tuition fee waiver for our students. This here says different than the Canyon's Promise. So it kind of like students will get a little confused with, wait, I have California Promise. No, it's a California College Promise Grant. Again, formerly known as the BOG. I believe a lot of students and parents have heard of the BOG. It's for only at the California Community College level. Must be a California resident. It's a year and a day in California. You'll be considered a California resident. And then only available at the community college level, which I just mentioned. Must have financial need. Again, the FAFSA generates this, and if there's financial need, you will qualify for a fee waiver. And then it waives the $46 per unit enrollment fee, which can, you know, add up if you have a 3-unit or 4-unit class. So it can, add up really quickly. And this Promise Grant is amazing for tuition waiver. Short-term form application or the FAFSA. We do have short-term forms here. Again, I added the little QR code. You could scan this later on or right now, and it'll take you to the page to complete the California College Promise Grant application. Here, just to mention, you could do the short form or you can wait for the FAFSA to come through. Just note that the short form is available and we can tell you, let's just say a student and parent present themselves at the front desk and you fill out the form. That form will be, or that we can let you know, sorry, somebody's knocking on my door. That we'll let you know right away that you qualify for the California Promise Grant, or you can wait for the FAFSA to come through, which could take up to 3 to 5 days. So we recommend you do the short form application. And oops, excuse me. Okay. Then I just want to touch a little bit on the California Dream App application for our students, for our dreamers. There's also funding available for our Dreamers as well. The DREAM Act application allows undocumented or AB 540 students to apply for and receive state financial aid at California public or private colleges and private scholarships that are available through the California DREAM Act. Let me let this student in. Okay. And it has just different eligibilities for our students attending a California high school for a minimum of 3 years, graduate from a California high school or pass the proficiency test or the GED, receive a GED diploma, enroll in an accredited and qualified California college or university, like College of the Canyons, fill out an affidavit to legalize immigration status as soon as eligible. And then students can apply online for a Cal Grant middle class scholarships, Chafee Grant, and other state and aid using the California DREAM Act application. And this is just the website that you would go to if that is somebody or someone you know that can apply for the California DREAM Act, or you could scan here and it'll take you directly to that page to complete the California DREAM Act. And again, if you have questions, of course, I'm going to have my email after, but if you don't know if you're not sure of which application to fill out, please, I'll have my email attached to this presentation. You could you can email me, or you could come in and I can, discuss this in detail regarding the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act. Here we go, we're here. So this is what the FAFSA will look like, okay? Again, I did add a QR code. Again, you could go back and, scan this and it'll take you directly to the FAFSA actual application. I do have a little video that I like to see. It's a little animated and I like animation. I'm not good at animation, so the FAFSA folks went ahead and created this for us, so why not use it, right? So let me go ahead and start this, and please let me know if you're unable to hear. It'll take a little while here to catch up. Here we go. And here we go. Let's try that.
You may have heard the expression, life is not about the destination,
Can you hear that?
but the journey. Well, getting an education is an important part of that journey, and you can get money to help you pay for it.
So
Each year, billions of dollars become available through the free application for federal student aid form, known as the FAFSA form. Just fill it out. The application offers access to federal student aid, grants, loans, work-study funds. States and schools also use the FAFSA form to distribute their own grants and scholarships. Where can you get the FAFSA form? We post the FAFSA form on October 1st for the next school year. It's available at fafsa.gov in both English and Spanish. You can also fill out the FAFSA form on the My Student Aid mobile app. So let's get started. You'll need your Social Security number, alien registration number if you're not a U.S. citizen, and possibly your federal income tax return, W-2s, and other records to show money you earned. You may be able to take advantage of the Internal Revenue Service data retrieval tool. This tool lets you securely transfer information from your federal tax return to the FAFSA form, so you can complete the FAFSA form more quickly. In addition, we recommend creating an FSA ID, which is your account username and password. Once you fill out the online application, you can electronically sign it with your unique FSA ID. You can also use your FSA ID to access the My Student Aid mobile app, sign loan contracts, and access certain information online. Your FSA ID is your digital signature. Create your own only once. Parents and students should keep their FSA IDs separate. Why? The FSA ID is a legal signature. It shouldn't be shared. Sharing it may result in unauthorized changes to your account, or it may delay your financial aid. Plus, you'll need your FSA ID to renew your FAFSA form each year. So, protect your information by making your FSA ID your own and keep it safe and secure. Your FAFSA form has 3 sets of questions to answer. Personal information, which includes your name, email address, marital status, and schools you're interested in. Financial information, such as your income and assets. Certain personal and financial information about your legal parent if you're a dependent student. Not sure about your dependency status? Visit studentaid.gov/dependency to find out who must provide parent information on the FAFSA form. Also, learn what to do if you live with only one parent or you aren't in contact with your parents. You can also ask the financial aid staff at your college or career school for help figuring this out. Since colleges and career schools use the FAFSA form to consider you for financial aid programs, the form asks you to list all the schools you are considering. Be sure to list a school even if you haven't applied to the school or received an acceptance letter yet. You can always go back and update the list later if needed. One great feature of the FAFSA form is that it may let you skip some questions that don't pertain to you. And if you're not sure how to answer a question, you can chat with a knowledgeable agent on our Contact Center webpage. Submitting your application online. Remember, if you are a dependent student, your parent must use his or her own FSA ID to sign the form as well. Submitting your FAFSA application online is often the fastest and easiest option, but you can also fill out the PDF version, which you can print out and drop in the mail. Submit the form in the My Student Aid mobile app, or ask your college or career school to submit the FAFSA form for you. If you provided an email address and submitted your form online, you'll receive an email within a few days. It will let you know we processed your application. Once we process it, an administrator from any school that you listed on the form and that has accepted you for admission will contact you to let you know what aid you're eligible for at the school. Congrats, you're one step closer to getting money for school and starting on one of life's most exciting journeys. For more helpful resources on eligibility, deadlines, and items you'll need to fill out the FAFSA form, visit studentaid.gov.
And voila, that is my nice little visual presentation. I like the animation that goes with it. So what the FAFSA, has some components to it. Again, we're available here at College of the Canyons or whatever school you decide to attend. The financial aid office would be able to help with any questions you may have or getting through the process and completing the actual FAFSA on file. Here I put, when do I need to apply for financial aid? So every year, so again, the 22-23 FAFSA is available, which again is for fall going forward to the next year, was made available October 1st. You want to submit the FAFSA beginning October 1st. Use your prior year tax information. So what this means, prior year. So if you're completing the 22-23 FAFSA, you would use your 20 taxes. So it's the prior year. So your 2020 taxes. I just want to add here, I guess to add to this, due to the pandemic and incomes changing, there is available at different schools, and the federal government gives us availability to basically, if income has changed significantly from 2020 to now, there is something called at our school, it's an EFC appeal. So you would have you would present some information as far as what the income changes, and we can, again, talking about earlier, lowering that EFC based on what the income is now. So something to kind of like keep in mind due to everything going on right now, because incomes can change from 2020 to now. So the federal government recognizes that and understands that. So, not to fret like, oh my God, something in 2020, I made this amount, and then again, it doesn't apply to current. Let us know. Here at College of the Canyons, we'll be able to help you through that process. And then again, the other schools of choice can help as well with that, because this is something that the federal government recognized on the FAFSA. So again, prior year using the 20 taxes, calendar year versus academic year. So we know a calendar year is, January through December. Academic year through the FAFSA is July through July. So that's an academic year, and that's how the FAFSA runs. Submit one every year. So again, mark your calendars. October 1st is when the application is available for the next year to be completed. And then multiple application years. So again, you'll probably have 2 application years running at one time. Currently, we are in 21, 22, but 22, 23 was obviously available again in October 1st. So we have 2 multiple application years running at the same time. So just not to confuse you. For incoming high school students, you would want to complete again the 22, 23 FAFSA for fall. Something that came out, I think, a couple years ago is great for students who love, using their phones. It's a little more accessible and it's a little more fun, interactive. The federal government and FAFSA, came together and they created the mobile app for students to complete the FAFSA. So you could see I have a visual here of how it looks. It's a little more interactive, fun, and it kind of goes through the FAFSA through screen by screen. So this is available to you as well, the mobile app. A lot of the FAFSA does require some information that you would have to have available when you're actually at the computer or at the mobile app using different information. Student and parent independent social security numbers, you would have to have that available. Financial records, including, this says 2018. Sorry, it should be 2020, federal tax returns. Records of any untaxed income received, students and parent email addresses. So this will be more for the FSA ID, which I'll talk about in the next screen. And then student driver's license number, and then eligible non-citizen alien registration number. So this is some stuff you want to gather ahead of time for the FAFSA to be completed, to have handy once you get to the actual application. The FSA ID is basically how you would sign off on your FAFSA. So you would create an FSA ID using your personal email address. And it says here, student parents and borrowers are required to use the FSA ID made up of a username and password to access certain U.S. Department of Education online systems. This case, we're using it for the FAFSA. Your FSA ID is used to confirm your identity when accessing your your financial aid information and electronic signing your federal student and aid documents. So this is the FSA ID. It's kind of like your signature used to stamp it and send it off to the Department of Education, and signing off on it so the schools that you have chosen can actually have access to the FAFSA and see what you may qualify for based on their individual schools. And how do I get an FSA ID? This kind of has a lot of information, but I'll just touch on the bullet points here. Enter your login information. This is actually prior to finishing or starting the FAFSA. You want to complete the FSA ID. Enter your personal and profile information, which is the date of birth, social security number, and name. Enter your contact information. This will be email addresses or mobile telephone numbers. For security purposes, complete the challenging questions and answers. I think there's 6 challenging questions. What's your favorite color? Favorite movie? In my case, Encanto. I have Bruno here. I am so in love with Bruno. He's just great. I sing the song in my head all day. It's just funny. I have to stop. But Bruno is just amazing. So whatever your favorite movie is, maybe it's Encanto, maybe it's something else. Confirm and verify your information. So you get a verifying email sent to you verifying that all this information is correct. And this is again for the FSA ID. A lot of times students have a little confusion with, am I a dependent or I'm an independent student? In this case, high school students more likely will be dependent still until or if you're under the age of 24, if you're not married, have any children, dependents or any dependents, a veteran, grad student or in grad school, And then foster youth and homeless youth, that's a little more, has a little more components to it though. Again, we can help determine that if you come visit any financial aid office. Foster youth, homeless youth, sometimes that the students in foster youth or homeless youth will be considered an independent student based on their information that they provide. Dependent students must include parent income information. So there is some special circumstances for this. We call them dependency circumstances. Again, visit our office here at College of the Canyons or any school financial aid office, and we can help understand if you are a dependent or independent student. And again, the whole purpose of that is if you're a dependent student, you would have to supply your parent income information. So how many steps does it take to complete the FAFSA? I know it's a lot of information, but these are just some of the points that, again, generates that whole EFC number that I talked about earlier. The 22-23 FAFSA for fall 22 consists of the following steps. So we would need student demographic information, address, name, all that good stuff, social security number, school selection. Students have the option of submitting or submitting 10 schools. Let's just say that there's more than 10 schools that a student would like to apply to or look into. Let's just say 10, and once you submit the FAFSA, you can go back into the FAFSA and add any remaining schools that of choice other than the 10 that you could only add that one time. So you do have an option to submit more than 10 schools. Okay. Dependency status. Again, these are some questions to determine if the student is independent or dependent based on the factors that I just mentioned about any children or anything military, foster youth mostly, and also homeless youth. That will determine dependency status. Parent demographic information as well. We need parents' information, email and social security numbers. Financial information. So this is where you would enter the income. Again, will be the 2020 taxes that have been filed. This will be the information that will be required for that portion of the FAFSA. And then sign and submit, again, using the FSA.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, that was my phone. It thought I said, hey Siri. Oops, don't want to say that. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Guess I'm too loud. And then you get a confirmation page. The confirmation page will give you what you may qualify for. That's the keyword may, because it's all dependent of how many units the student's taking and how much the EFC that was generated from the information that parent and student inputted on the FAFSA for 22-23. Going through the FAFSA visually, IRS data retrieval tool. I do recommend that you do, if you do have if this does present, it would be best that you use the data retrieval tool because it does transfer directly from the IRS to the FAFSA. And it just saves a lot of time and a lot of stress with trying to make corrections. We, as federal processors here at College of the Canyons, make corrections all the time with information that did not match the FAFSA. Students are chosen not at random, but just chosen sometimes to do what is called the verification process. And sometimes students will have to submit their actual taxes just to verify that everything does match what the file taxes are, and what is on the FAFSA. So again, this is on the FAFSA. You have the opportunity to use the data retrieval tool to send the information directly from the IRS to the FAFSA. So it just saves a lot of time and headaches going forward with trying to get students, we use the word packaged for their financial aid. Summary and confirmation. Once everything is complete, you want to sign and seal and submit, and you'll receive visually what this looks like. Congratulations, student. Little page here that says, congratulations, this is your EFC confirmation number there. If you can see that, it's a little blurry, sorry about that. So then here it says, how do I know when I'm finished? And this again will give you,
Sorry,
I
couldn't hear.
you'll know that, let me close this, you'll know that you are done with the FAFSA once you receive that. Congratulations, student. Verification, which I touched on a little bit earlier. Right now for 22-23, we will, or they will flag students for verification. Again, you would just have to submit verification of the taxes filed, and then family size. We have a form internally here at College of the Canyons. All schools have the same form. It's a verification form. It's basically stating how many in the household and how many going to college. It's very simple form to fill out. And that's just the whole gist of the verification. So it's nothing to be, frightful of or anything. It's just you want to verify that, they want to verify that the information is correct that's filed. And again, it's almost like random. Some students don't ever get chosen for verification. I know I never did. And then sometimes some students do, or students and parents. Lastly, we're almost there. What happens next? I've submitted my FAFSA, now what? So you want to check your emails, and this is more for College of the Canyons, but it's kind of the same process. I can only speak for our school here, but it's the same process throughout different, schools. You want to check your email. You will receive also a student aid report. This is basically stating that this is what you may qualify for in the form of grants. Make any necessary corrections. You would see like, oh, this correction needs to be made, or sometimes, a lot of times, parents need to sign off on on the student's FAFSA or their child's FAFSA. So again, FSA has to be created for the student and also for the parent. So 2 FSA IDs need to be done to sign off on the FAFSA. I don't think I mentioned that. So 2 FSA IDs would have to be created, one for the student and then one for the parent. And then add or remove any schools. So if you want, you can go in or the student can go in and change any schools or add any schools to their FAFSA once it's been submitted. The fun stuff here, how much aid will I get? So award notification, you will receive the student aid report. The financial aid office at each school you list on the FAFSA will tell you how much aid you are eligible for to receive at that institution. So again, it's dependent on what school. Give the schools any additional paperwork that are needed. So let's just say, again, some information, you're flagged for verification, you would have to submit some additional paperwork in the form of, again, the filed taxes or the dependent verification worksheet, which again is just demographic information, how many in the household, how many are in college. So, and then if any corrections need to be made, we can do that. Speaking of College of the Canyons, we'll do that correction. And then meet any deadlines, or you could miss out on aid. So you want to make sure the FAFSAs are completed within, again, that March 2nd deadline, more for the Cal Grant. That one is attached to a deadline. But the great thing about community college is that we don't have a deadline for FAFSA. So FAFSA can be created anytime because we do pay, if a student comes in during the springtime, attended fall, but never did the FAFSA and they decide to do it for spring, we have the opportunity to pay them for the fall semester. That's a great thing about community colleges. I know some private schools where I went to, you weren't able to do that, so you will miss out. So I did add that on there. So make sure deadlines are, in this case, March 2nd. That's the one I want to talk about at the community college level for the Cal Grant. So where do I get help? Here at College of the Canyons, speaking of, of our school, canyons.edu/money for college is a great website that we have all this information in a nice, neat place to look at for our students. If something you missed or something, maybe I went too fast, hopefully not too fast. I know it's a lot of information, but you can visit our website here and it'll take you to our handbook that has all this information from start to finish based on all grants, scholarships, and loans, and even information about the FAFSA and the DREAM Act application. So here we go. Maximizing financial aid. Just some, information, me being in financial aid for so many years. I won't say how many years. You want to make sure you read the fine print, of course, with anything you do. Keep looking for free aid funding. Again, visit our financial aid office and we can walk you and point you in the right direction for free aid funding. Watch out for scholarship scams, spooky. Make sure that, again, which I mentioned earlier, that you don't pay for these scholarship applications. That's a no-no, that's a red flag right there. Visit us again and we can give you, point you in the right direction, scholarships.com or fastweb.com, I think it is great search engines for different scholarships for our students. Use private loans as a last resort. Again, making sure that your loans, utilizing all the free money first. Loans should be, again, the last resort for students. Understanding your student loan obligations. This is more for loans, making sure that you understand all the obligations for student loans and what they entail, how much the interest rate is, and when you need to start paying those back. Submit a new FAFSA every year, October 1st, remember that. And then talk to a financial aid officer about any changes in your situation. So if anything changes, please let a financial aid officer, whatever school you attend, that any changes to the financial situation, we may be able to help. And voila, ta-da, thank you. So any questions that you may have, you are more than welcome to email me at tony.sanchez@canyons.edu. And I will be, more than honored to help you with any questions you may have, particularly to your students' financial aid, or any questions related to anything else I discussed in this presentation. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, Christina, how we can maybe take some questions that are kind of general. Not personal information, personal questions you can you send directly to my email.
Yes, if anyone has any general questions, just unmute yourself and ask. If it's more of a, personal specific to you, you can always, like Mr. Sanchez said, just email him. So if anyone has any questions right now, this is the time to unmute yourself.
Let me try to open this. There we go. I can see more people now.
I have a question.
Sure.
I think that I did this, the FAFSA, but so tell me again, you might have already mentioned it.
Sure.
What do we do after we complete it? How do we know what's happening? Like, will the schools contact us? But when I go back into my dashboard, is it my dashboard? Is it my kids' dashboard?
Actually,
is it one and the same?
At the particular school, it would be the school dashboard. The student's dashboard. They will be sending the email to the student based related to the email that whatever school he decides to go to. And that's a good question though, Wendy, because sometimes we do have a lot of students who skip that part and never share with their parents. So you kind of have to let your child know, hey, did you receive an email from the FAFSA folks or from the school? Is anything else needed or for the FAFSA? So to answer your question, it'll be sent to the student's email at the school of choice. So
it's sent to the student's email at the school of choice. So
yes.
We don't hear anything directly from FAFSA or whatever.
So if you do use, well, yes. They will, if there's any kind of corrections that are needed, they'll send it directly to this, because there's FERPA laws. So it's kind of getting technical. So as any student or parent needed information, they'll send it directly to the student. But once the student is enrolled, and let's just say College of the Canyons, we'll speak for College of the Canyons, anything that we need from the student will be sent directly to his My Canyons email, per se. So you kind of have to be on your child to make sure that, hey, did you receive any information from them? So yes. So
oh boy.
Yes and no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hi. I was wondering for the Canyons Promise.
Yes.
Do they pay for the like textbooks?
I don't believe the Canyons Promise does pay for textbook, but I believe it's through the Canyons Promise, and I will be able to get back to you if you do send me an email, because Kellum, especially the Canyons Promise, it's through a different department. And I did ask one of the ladies there, they do give out book vouchers, and I believe maybe 90% that it's from the Canyons Promise program. But again, Calvin, if you could send me an email, tony.sanchez@canyons.edu, I'll be glad to get that answered for you. But we do have vouchers for books, and it's pretty significant. It's like 300. Christina?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They do get, they have gotten vouchers in the past. It just, it has changed. Sometimes it's $100. It's been 200, 300. I don't know the exact amount for like next year. There are book vouchers. It won't cover all of your books, but it will definitely cover a lot of the book expense.
Great, thank you.
No problem. And I'm gonna add my email for anybody. .edu, just in case. Right there, that's me. And the chat there, if you have any questions, in particular, or, I know I can't share my email again, so you could see it in the chat. If you do have any questions, please email me. I'll be glad to answer any questions. And we have 5 advisors here ready to help in any way possible, okay? Any other questions? Some of these questions, can, somebody would not, are afraid to answer, and you can answer that for us and somebody else that's in our presentation.
I actually do have a question, and I'm not sure if you covered this. This is the first time I'm listening to anything regarding financial aid.
Okay.
The Canyons, I'm a little confused about the Canyons Promise. Is that something that we apply for?
Yes. The Canyons Promise is we have a whole department dedicated to the Canyons Promise, and there's an application application process, and there's different criteria for it. Christina or maybe Sam will be able to share this presentation later, but if you go to, I think it's slide 15, I added a screen, Scan Me. If you just scan it with your phone, it'll take you directly to that page for Canyons Promise, because there's different criteria for it. And I don't want to touch it right now because I'm afraid I'm going to mess up the whole, lose everybody. But you can go to that. But if you go to our page, our Canyons page, you can actually type in the search engine Canyons Promise, and it'll take you directly to that page. But it is an application that you have to fill out, and then you have to get admitted to that program.
Okay.
I have it all.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I have it on the Class of 2022 Google Classroom on all the steps of how to apply to the Canyons Promise program.
Awesome. Yes, I thank you so much, Sam. So yes. That answer your question, Hasmik?
It does. Yeah. So from what I understand, we can apply to multiple of these programs, correct?
Multiple programs.
Yeah. So if we apply for Canyons Promise, do we still do FAFSA?
Oh, the FAFSA should be done regardless. Yeah, that's
okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll help with all the different programs that are available and the free money that's available.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One of the requirements for the Canyons Promise is to fill out the FAFSA. There's different requirements, and one of them is to fill out the FAFSA. So we tell students, regardless of where they're going, to always fill out the FAFSA.
Yes.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi, Betty. Yes.
Yes, hi. So I completed the FAFSA last year when we were applying for colleges.
Okay.
And I understand that I have to apply again by October, correct?
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. So the 21-22 FAFSA is almost complete. It's going to cover for spring, let's just say for summer, I'm sorry. But the 22-23 FAFSA, that's the one that will needs to be done, because again, I talked about multiple applications kind of going together. So you want to make sure that it's the 22-23 FAFSA for fall. You know if it was that one?
I have to check.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, you could check, but just be mindful that the 22-23 FAFSA is the one that will for the fall 22 all the way through next fiscal year for summer of 23. Can you believe that? 23 already. So
Okay.
yeah, so
I see.
20.
And let's just say that it was not the one. Do you know if you have to like start fresh, a brand new application, or you
Nope.
leverage from what you already completed before? Because
It
I
does.
do have my ID. My
Yes.
my son has his ID.
Yes, it does have, it does the, what is it called? I forgot the technical term for it, but it does, you will have to create a new application though, but it does connect, some of the demographic information. So it remembers, it has the memory of, it remembers your name and your social and all that good stuff, address, I think. But everything else would have to be new because you'll be using for 22-23, in this case, your 2020 taxes. So
2020 tax.
to answer your question, yes, you would have to complete a FAFSA every year. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty.
Hello, I have a quick question in regards to the Canyons Promise.
Sure.
Is it something that your student needs to be certain that they're applying, or is it something that, it's like a plan B? Because for my student per se, it would probably be a plan B. It's not something that's, looked as the first choice, although it's a great college. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to not take any of the opportunity from people that it's their first choice. Do they have to be pretty certain, or is it something that we don't lose anything to go ahead and get a jump start and start applying in the event that she doesn't get into her school of choice and she wants to go that route?
Okay. So I believe you're asking about the Canyons Promise?
Correct. The application, the application, yeah, definitely the Canyons Promise. I understand the FAFSA because I have other children in college already.
Tony, do you want me to answer that?
Please, Christina. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I always recommend for my seniors to fill out the Promise program because you never know what's going to happen. Whether she gets into the school of her choice and then ends up, maybe not qualifying for financial aid, or there's things that other circumstances. So it's always a good idea to do plan B. And there is a deadline for the Promise program. So in my case, I let students know just apply and have that as the backup plan, because we never really know what's going to happen, in May. And the deadline is May 1st, which is when students have to decide what university they're going to.
Around the corner. Okay, very well explained. I just didn't want to take it and then fill up the capacity with when they're not certain. But like you said, it's encouraged and we'll go from there. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you, Christina.
Any other questions? No.
Yeah, this is Roy. I've got a question.
Hi, Roy.
Hello. I frequently extend my taxes till October. So when we fill out the FAFSA, will we have to take in the hurry and get the taxes in before the deadline and things like that, or does it use the year before that?
Mm-hmm. So a very good question, and it's very generic, so I can answer this. So they use what is called years ago, and I won't go into how many years ago, but they determined that prior year wasn't working, so they did prior year. So for 22-23 again, you would use your 2020 taxes. I know if you extend, or some people need to extend their I don't know if it's longer than October, but I think what we as a professional, the FAFSA, professional FAFSA folks, the longest you can extend, I believe, is October. Roy, is that correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding. That's
okay.
The absolute
so
deadline.
The FAFSA, so the taxes should be done by then, because you're using 2 years prior, so they would have to have been done already.
Okay.
But to answer the question though, the taxes have to be filed. In this case, for 22-23, it would be using the 2020 taxes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
wanted to know. Thank
Hope I
you.
answered that. Yeah. So it's prior year.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I have a quick question on the book vouchers that you mentioned.
Yes.
Where do you apply for the book vouchers?
And it seems like is Christina there? Are you still there, Christina? I don't know. I don't see her on here anymore. But again, I was going to get back to so I think somebody had answered that or asked that question earlier. The book voucher, I believe, is through the Canyons Promise program, and I think Christina had talked about that. But when this presentation is shared, it's one of the presentation slides. I do have and I did add it here. Canyons.edu in the chat /promise. You can just copy paste and go directly to that page. Again, and I spoke to my coworkers about this. The Canyons Promise is not through financial aid, so we are just sharing the information. It's a great program, though. Don't get me wrong. Just that we don't fund that program. It's through the through the Canyons Promise program, and there's a whole department dedicated to it. So if you go to the canyons.edu /promise, it could answer any questions that you may have. There's also an email, promise at canyons.edu, I believe, and they're great and get back to you within the next day regarding the book voucher. But through the Promise, you would have to apply, and I believe one of the perks to it is the book voucher.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Denise, you're welcome. Hi, Anna. Oh.
Hi, Tony.
Hi.
My son is a junior, so he's going to be graduating next year.
Awesome.
So the FAFSA application should be in October, not right now.
So he's gonna come in fall of this year, right?
Yeah.
He's graduating this year.
No, he's graduating next year.
Next year, okay. So
for thinking in Promise program, it's like for the students that are graduating this 2022, they need to do for March 2nd, right?
Yes.
In my son's case is for next year, so I start the application for FAFSA in October.
October 1st.
Okay.
Perfect.
I was thinking rushing, and I don't think it's time yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
the dates are very, really kind of all over the place, but October 1st is probably get it out of the way. Just remember October 1st instead of waiting March 2nd because.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna put it in my calendar.
Yes.
So October,
Yeah.
start the FAFSA application.
October 1st. Yes.
And thank you, very helpful.
You're very welcome. Congratulations to our high school students. I'm so happy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Raymond, did you have a question?
Yes.
Sure. Good.
So I have a junior at heart. So she graduates next year. So I put in the FAFSA this October or next October?
This October 1st.
Okay. And then which tax year would it be counted?
In this case, it would be the 21 taxes.
Okay.
Yes. So,
all right. And then one other question about the financial information on FAFSA. So every year that you apply, you obviously, if your financial situation changes, you have to put that info every year, right?
One more time, Raymond. They make sure.
So let's say I fill out the FAFSA this next year, right? And then you're supposed to do it every year after, right?
Yes.
So if the following year, let's say income changes for the parents, how does that affect the?
I briefly spoke about it though, just to let everybody know as well. Speaking for College of the Canyons, and it should be throughout, the United States. The federal government does recognize that incomes do change, because prior year, incomes can change, COVID happened, a lot of things have happened. Internally, I could speak for College of the Canyons, we have a process called financial circumstance appeal. So it's an appeal process. And it's not it sounds very technical and it's very long, but it's not really that difficult. We just ask for taxes, the old taxes, lack of a better term, the new taxes. and make changes based on what income is currently versus what it was back then, because a lot of times, income has changed, from prior year. Things can change, year to year. So to answer the question, there is the chance of or this opportunity to do what is called a financial circumstance appeal. And the whole reason for that is to lower what is called the EFC. The lower the EFC, the more chance of the student getting free money. So it's a great way to help our students, achieve their educational goals with based on the income, because the FAFSA does take different factors of the FAFSA, family size, who's in school, who's in college, what the income is. So those are usually the main ones that we see. So again, it could change from year to year. So just, don't fret, there is a way to help our students if that is something that you want to look into. So year to year, incomes change. So they recognize that.
Thank you.
It's great. You're welcome. Anybody else? Any questions?
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I misunderstood before. So if I have a current junior, I would use for the FAFSA, I would use the 21 taxes.
Yeah, and that'll be made available October 1st. So it'll be called, we'll just call it for a word. It'll be the 23, kind of out there, Hans. Wow, already. It'll be because they're not going to start college, let's just say next year fall, right?
No, 23-24 school year.
Yes, so 23-24 will be the FAFSA that the student would complete if they're a junior this year, using the 21 taxes.
And we would do that this October.
This October 1st, correct.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Abigail.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Natalie.
I just want to clarify, you mentioned Call Grant, the $12,630. Is it per year or in totality for the entire college years?
And that's for the Cal Grant, correct?
Right.
Yeah, it's for I believe it's a year. So that's like the maximum usually, and it could be different. It could be 2,000. It could be 3,000. I know when I was at a private university, I did see a student that received that amount, the higher amount. So it's year to year. So and then again, the income, the what the student can be eligible for is different. It varies from person to person. So
okay, so that was the maximum amount you can get.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and my last question is the IRS data retrieval tool. Is it part of the FAFSA application?
Yes.
Okay.
So the way the data retrieval tool works, again, if you are presented the opportunity to use on the FAFSA, you have the opportunity to use the data retrieval tool. It is found on the FAFSA, and basically what it does is just transfer the information from the IRS to the FAFSA, and it just saves a lot of time and headaches, with, oh my God, I have to get this paperwork and that paperwork. So yes, so it is presented on the FAFSA, and it's on there to use directly from the IRS.
So and it will transfer the parents' information as well as the student.
Yeah, usually the parent, yeah. Sometimes I guess for the high school students, we don't see a lot of them working, but yeah, maybe they did. So yes, that is correct. So.
And as a parent, I know it was so much easier plugging in that information because just upload it right to it. It cut the time of filling out FAFSA in half.
Ooh, yes. Amen. So yeah.
Hi, Tony. This is Betty again. I'm sorry.
Hi, Betty. No
so
problem.
I checked and I did apply for the 22-23 FAFSA.
Awesome.
I did back in October 14. So I just need to wait again October 1st, right, to submit a new one.
For the 23-24, yeah. For if he's a junior this year.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Sorry, I have one more question. It's Hasmik again.
No problem. No, that's what I'm here for.
You talked about the California College Promise Grant, and you said that was different from the Canyons Promise.
Correct.
Do we apply for that separately, or is that part of FAFSA?
So yeah, so that's a really good question. So the FAFSA is like the application for the gods, for everything. So it's all embedded in there. You have the opportunity to use either the FAFSA or you have a actual paper or electronic application that you can use. So it's all encompassed inside the FAFSA. So it will tell you if you did qualify for the CCPG, we'll call it for short, the California Promise Grant. And that's through the government one, yeah. Versus Canyons. Yeah, so it's embedded. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, Tony. Are we gonna have access to this information? Can we have that so I can talk this with my husband?
Sure, and I think that would be Sam or Christina. So Sam, if you could answer that, how, excuse me, they can receive the presentation.
Yeah, I'll make sure that that the recording is put on the Google Classroom for both the class of 2022 and the class of 2023 Google Classroom. And if we're able to, I'll able to upload it to the counseling web page as well.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hopefully I did a good job.
You did.
I know there's a lot of information and I apologize, but that's just, I want to give you all the goodies all at once, you know? But again, tony.sanchez@canyons.edu, it's in the chat. Any particular questions you didn't want to ask here, you can email me. And again, I'll be more than happy to help in any way. Okay.
And I'm sorry, did you say this presentation is going to be in the Google Classroom? I know Sam mentioned that, but I couldn't hear very well. Is that where we retrieve the application, the presentation?
Yes, it'll be there.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Sam.
Awesome. So I have a couple more minutes. You know, let me know if you have any more questions.
I have a question.
Sure. Is this Roy? Hi, Roy.
Yes. So I know there's scholarships like if you're the child of a police officer, for example, they might have their own. Is that accessed through the organization itself, or do they usually go through the schools?
They usually are connected to a school, but I don't know. There may be some scholarships that are connected directly to an agency or to that, you know, to that agency. In this case, will be, you know, LAPD or the sheriffs or whatever, Santa Clarita. So you can look into that directly through the agency or local scholarships through, if you visit our page, College of the Canyons webpage and type in the word scholarship, there's something called local scholarships. I was trying to find that presentation, but let me see here. SG, I think I'll read it out real quick. I'll put it in the chat real quick. Hold on one second. There it is. Oh, my computer is really slow.
You can also check our counseling webpage. We also have a scholarship page. Any scholarships that are available, we post them as we get them.
So the one here for local scholarships, SCVSF, I'm pretty sure Sam might have that already on the page.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote that one down.
Yeah, okay. So that'll be the best one locally through foundations and through different organizations.
So they don't necessarily go to, I know my daughter received some, she was a single mother and got a UC San Diego scholarship
awesome.
From former single mothers that wanted to fund, you know, single mothers that wanted to help them out. And I'll ask her, but did she get that through the school or? did she dig around and find that somewhere else?
Find it, yeah. It's both. So yeah. So that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of scholarships out there for every program and any educational goal that the student wants to do.
Yeah, she totally didn't know about that, and it paid for 2 years of tuition at UC San Diego. So it was a very good scholarship.
Oh, that's great. I love hearing that. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Does College of the Canyons have scholarship money for?
We do.
College of the Canyons employees' kids?
For employees?
Yeah. I'm actually a part-time teacher at College of the Canyons. So
okay, awesome.
Would my child be able to receive, is there any extra money? Just, it's a personal thing, I guess. I should probably just take it off the board, but.
Yeah, but just to let you know, we do have our wonderful Marilee Bishop is our scholarship coordinator here in financial aid. So you can email her directly, but we do have scholarships through College of the Canyons. There's different criteria for it though. The student would have to be or have to complete 6 units and be in good SAP. SAP is above 2.0 GPA. So they would have to have completed 6 units before they can look into our internal scholarships. But again, Marilee Bishop at marilee.bishop. Let me just put it here. She wouldn't mind. Marilee.bishop at canyons.edu. She is our scholarship coordinator, and she's awesome. So if you have any questions pertaining to internal scholarships, she'd be the person to speak to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just amazed at how much money's out there in all different kinds of.
So much money for our students to get through their education. So I love doing these presentations to get them to the final, graduation. Some students come back and say, "Oh my God, Tony, I finished, my bachelor's degree or my AA degree." This is when I was at private university, and it's just rewarding to hear that. So it means a lot that I helped in some way, with the financial aid part. So congratulations, Roy. So I think I'm going to disconnect now. Any questions, please email me, tony.sanchez@canyons.edu. Okay.
Thank you very much. Very well presented and very resourceful, Tony.
Yes, thank you so much for
everything. Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you very much.
And I know we could count on you because you seem like you're eager and willing to help all of us.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Gives me chills to see our students graduate. So yeah,
awesome.
So any questions, let me know. Okay. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much.
Eres un encanto.
Thank you, Tony. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You like Encanto? That's a good.
Encanto.
It's a match to your personality.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Good night.
Have a good night.
Bye bye.